My story is very much a tragedy, unlike all the others. All of it started with a beautiful day, as my parents decided to have a seaboat and change the country of living to give a new life for them and for me. I was born a little baby when they made this decision of their lives. The first day went smooth, feeling happy that they are finally going to start fresh, but little did they anticipate that it would be their last trip. The following night, black clouds started covering the sky, and before we knew it, there was heavy rain. Storm and gale followed, shaking the ship so hard it's hard to be steady. All were panicking, but slowly the ship starts to break and sink. I was crying in my mother's arms, and she was whispering in my ears that my child, everything will be all right. She put a cloth on me and safely placed me on the wooden rack. I was crying highly, and the boat was preparing to drown, one by one. People started drowning. A very terrible look, all hope was away. And at a far distance, a mermaid was watching everything, not able to do much for the salvation of the ship. Though when she heard the cry of my baby, her heart softened, and she decided to come to my help. After all, she couldn't leave a baby all by itself in such a storm. She gave me her necklace and took me underwater. I was able to breathe in the water with the help of Necklace's magic. Hi, I am Og. Please, before we move on, do subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Her name was Tur, the queen of the secret mermaid city. And she had no own child. That is why she had mercy upon me. She was taking me with her to the city of the mermaids, swimming there. She was hiding my legs from the guards and went to the palace, where her husband, King Rashid, had gone. She explained to him how the ship looked and that I was the only survivor. I was in a helpless situation and had no place to go. There was an ocean in the middle. From now on, let's bring it up, she told him. Basically, that was his anger, and instantly his answer had a negative sign. No, for he was at war with mankind for centuries. I didn't trust them. I heard my scream, so he came to shut me up. I looked at him and started laughing, holding his finger. His heart softened, and he agreed with Alora. But one condition, she will have to keep on wearing a tail all her life. No one knows whose kid it is, and she need not know her identity herself. We will make it so that they consider her our daughter. The kingdom finally got its princess, but they believe it was long overdue. King Rashid was the one to arrange for me a tail. I'm going to wear it for the rest of my life. I grew up with the company of mermaids, hiding the same secret and always wanting to know more. Why was I different? My parents had never shown such signs, but kind of thinking I put down. Maybe they knew something that I didn't. You see, I was different. And while the folks swam with stylish tails, I had to kick with a fake one. Not always easy swimming like that, but I really had good friends. They really took care of me. Life was pretty magical in the mermaid city. I learned to speak their melodious language, to sing like whales, and dance like currents. It was a pretty happy, but not quite free upbringing. Growing a little bit older, the question always bubbled up to the surface like air. Why do I have legs and my parents have tails? Why should I hide them? It made my insides feel as turbulent as the current around me. I was in a swirling mood, a storm of frustration and curiosity, more particularly from where I really came. Every time I asked my mom about my dad, she always dodged this question or would get sad. Therefore, I decided not to disturb her and look through the documents myself. And how I liked reading. I spent most of my time in libraries. There, in the stack of hiding books, I found something rather curious. There were pictures of two-legged creatures, quite like my own. Since that time, monsters have comfortably moved along the earth, having fun and corrupting both lands and the sea. It could not live underwater, and these were mermaids to threaten the gigantic monster. So mermaids always hid from them. I was just in shock. Everything was jumbled up in one place. Now, I left my place and started traveling in the huge ocean, far away from home, and that, too, without letting parents know. Surely, they would become worried, I thought to myself, and leaving a note for them. I promised that I would return in no time. Proceeding deeper, I eventually discovered a sunken ship. Eerie, yet silent, it seemed like the ghostly remains of life from some other time. Among the debris, there was something in particular that I found. It stopped me in my tracks. Pictures of me as a baby with people I didn't recognize. It was a striking moment of revelation. In a deep realization, I loved and adored the ocean with all the animals that lived in it. But I could not allow any of them any space at all. I now made up my mind and swam on tirelessly, coasting through the waters until I reached land. I sighed in deeply. I was able to take the breath easily without any problem. So, that is when I could exhale. I had taken in a pretty deep breath without much problem. I felt nothing of this world, going down, awkwardly, onshore and unsteady at the place where I first touched land. Well, it certainly was a private beach. I did not know. But I naturally took my first steps in this very direction. I saw lots of two-legged laughing creatures, wandering around with less clothing on. I removed that fake tail, which had been an extension of me for so long, and tried standing just like any other. That was really hard. It felt like learning to swim all over again, but in reverse. Gradually, I managed to walk, my steps shaky but determined. I was fascinated by everything. Wow, this must be how it feels. In all of my years, I had never felt anything close to complete. A beach, that was it. Everything around me, everything that touched my skin, sand, sun, people. I must have looked at them, with my hair wet, sea-soaked, my clothes all wet, and my eyes bewildered. That was the time I met an extraordinary seal. I don't know. Probably I did understand her. It was just like the magic itself, allowing me to breathe underwater, but giving me a bonus, enabling me to establish communion with creatures of the land. The wise, talkative seal had much amusement in my embarrassment. "What are you doing, lying on the ground, stupid human?" "I'm not a human. I'm a mermaid." "What is a human? Do you understand me?" "That's something new." "Why do you look so different from the rest?" "I mean, what do you mean by I'm not a human?" "What do you mean I'm not a human? You obviously look like a human, man, with those hands and legs. But you seem to be a dumb one. Come, I'll show you around." She explained to me kindly all about the human world. And, to my surprise, he told me about only good humans, as if they feed him and pat him on the back. I was in shock. What was he even talking about? Day by day, this human form was full of confidence. I even ventured onto the land and its secrets, eating my mermaid food and clothes that a seal helped me get dressed in. But in a way, as much as I got used to life on the land, somehow I always wanted to be on the sea with that family that raised me. It was my turn to choose, to determine my destiny. Would I remain on dry land and try to find out about the secret of my past? Or would I go back to the ocean that is the only family I've ever known? While walking around and making small talk with the seal, something, or rather someone, caught my eye. He was such a young man, apparently a bit older than me, with an easily smiling face and eyes filled with inquisitiveness that almost looked like an echo of my own. I found myself inexplicably drawn to him, and before I knew it, I was following him along the beach. I also saw him looking my way. Our first encounter was something out of a storybook. He noticed me trailing behind him and turned, his expression a mix of surprise and intrigue. There was a moment of awkward silence before he introduced himself as Mozzie. I was captivated by him, his gentle demeanor, and the way his eyes seemed to hold 1,000 untold stories. Who was this human, and is he as monstrous as we think? Maisie was understandably stunned by my appearance, my soaked clothes, my unfamiliarity with the simplest of human interactions, and the fact that I seemed utterly lost. He asked where I was from, a question I wasn't quite ready to answer. Instead, I told him I was new to the island and hadn't seen much of it, seizing the opportunity. Maisie offered to show me around, and I eagerly accepted. Our days together were filled with adventures and laughter. Maisie was a lifeguard at the beach. He showed me the island's wonders, its lush forests, hidden coves, and towering cliffs. We went hiking through the trails, the green canopy above us a stark contrast to the open ocean skies I was used to. He taught me how to climb trees, a skill that was both thrilling and terrifying. I remember the feeling of the rough bark under my hands and the way the world looked from high above the ground. We spent afternoons at the local market, a bustling, colorful place teeming with people and exotic smells. Maisie seemed to know everyone and introduced me as his friend from afar. We tried different foods, roots I'd never seen, pastries with sweet, unfamiliar flavors, and drinks that fizzed and tickled my nose. One of my favorite activities was swimming. While I couldn't show him my true form, swimming in the ocean with Maisie was a joy. I marveled at how different it felt to swim with legs. The water was no longer a part of me, but a separate entity. Maisie was an excellent swimmer, but he couldn't match my speed or grace in the water. A secret I kept to myself with a smile. Evenings were spent sitting on the beach, watching the sun dip below the horizon. Maisie would talk about his life on the island, his dreams and aspirations, how he loved his job as a lifeguard. In those moments, I felt a connection to this land, to Maisie, and a sense of belonging that was both foreign and comforting. Surprisingly, humans weren't as bad as we thought. However, as my bond with Maisie deepened, so did the conflict within me. The more I immersed myself in the human world, the more I felt the pull of the ocean, the call of my mermaid family. I knew I couldn't keep. My true identity couldn't remain a secret forever, and the thought of revealing the truth to Maisie filled me with fear. Would he understand, or would he see me as a curiosity, a creature from a fairy tale, not a person with a heart and soul? As I lay on the beach next to him, watching the stars twinkle in the night sky, I realized that I was standing at a crossroads. I faced the biggest decision of my life. The choice I made would change everything, not just for me, but for Maisie and the world I had come to love. After several months of living among the humans and experiencing life on land with Maisie, a deep longing for my mermaid family began to tug at my heart. The memories of my adoptive parents, Alora and Tease, in the underwater city grew stronger each day. As much as I cherished my time with Maisie and the new world I had discovered, I knew I needed to return to my aquatic home, at least to share my experiences and see my beloved family again. So, with a heavy heart, I bid farewell to Maisie, promising to return. He was puzzled by my sudden decision, but respected it with a kind of sad understanding. I plunged into the ocean, feeling the familiar embrace of the water enveloping me, guiding me back to the mermaid city. The reunion with my mermaid family was emotional. Alora and Taze greeted me with tears and open arms, relieved and overjoyed to see me safe. I recounted my adventures on land, the sights, sounds, and the connection I felt with Maisie and the human world. They listened intently, their expressions a mix of wonder and concern. As I shared my story, I realized how much I had changed. The ocean, once my entire world, now felt like one part of a larger existence. My heart was torn between two worlds, two families, two lives. It was during these moments that I made a decision, one that would shape the rest of my life. I decided to return to the land, to live among humans, to explore the possibilities of a life with Mozzie. But this time, I wouldn't be alone in my journey. To my surprise and delight, Allura revealed a secret of her own. With her powerful mermaid magic, she could transform herself into a human, at least for a while. She decided to join me on land for a few days, to experience the world I had grown to love, and to support me in my new life. Adjusting to life on land with Allura was both challenging and exhilarating. We found a small home near the beach, where the sound of the waves was a comforting reminder of our oceanic home. Allura, in her human form, was fascinated by everything, and I took joy in introducing her to the quirks and charms of human life. As for Mozzie, his astonishment at seeing Allura and learning the truth about me was profound. But in his eyes, there was no fear, only a deeper love and acceptance that transcended my wildest hopes. Together, we explored the blend of our worlds, building a life filled with love, understanding, and the magic of both land and sea. In the end, my journey taught me that home is not just a place, but where the heart finds its true connection, whether in the depths of the ocean or on the sun-kissed land. I found my place in the world, a bridge between two realms, living a life enriched by both. And so, with Mozzie and Allura by my side, I embraced my new life, forever cherishing the waves that had carried me to this destiny. Thank you so much for watching.